Welcome to part 2 of my Pokemon Day videos. So this time, we'll be doing some rumor stuff. Basically, the entirety of the last video was talking about getting a trailer for Pokemon Legends Z-A this upcoming Pokemon Day, and what I was thinking would be in it, and talking about a lot of the stuff that we know / don't know. This part is going to be mainly rumor focused, mainly about other games, which I really don't think is likely. Unless this game is coming out within the next month, I don't see them doing another game ever this year. Like, not this year. I don't see them releasing another game this year. Unless it's like Pokemon Snap again, or a Pokemon Mystery again. So yeah. To start this off with, actually, though, the first rumor that I wanted to bring up, especially since, by all technicalities, I should have mentioned it in the last part, is Pokemon Legends Z-A again. But this time, we're looking at, it's not called Pokemon Legends Z-A, it's called Pokemon Legends Z-A, meaning that there's a few things this could mean. The main thing that we're looking at is representing the end of something and the start of something else. Which is, going from Z to A. End to beginning. Now, in terms of the game, I don't know what that means. Because it could be as simple as it being basically just Legends Arceus, but implying there's another Pokemon. It could have a deeper meaning into the story, like the way that they named Black and White. A Pokemon Black and White. We really don't know. Looking at the logo for Pokemon Legends Z-A itself, there's some interesting things happening here. Mainly, other than, having the Pokemon logo be a gray outline and have, this is an artist talking, by the way, having a gradient red in it. Instead of being called Pokemon Legends Zygarde in this case. It is Legends Z-A, like we mentioned earlier, but there's also contrast in the lettering. The Z and the hyphen are both mainly black in body with a green outline, and the Z has a hexagon shape with a gradient opacity to it. So basically it's solid at one side and then it gradually fades into nothingness. Compare that to the A in Pokemon Legends Z-A, where it's really only a triangle and it has what could only be described as plant veins on it. I mean, there's multiple ways this could go. A lot of people seem to equate it to the Ultimate Weapon or AZ, which is also pretty valid given how little we know and how that's like the only thing really that has any sort of similarity to this. But as mentioned earlier, there could be a Pokemon to signify the A. The most interesting one I saw was a Tyranitar 2 one, which basically introduced the possibility of having an alternate legendary trio that mirrors the existing one for X and Y that represent the letters A, B, and C. That's while it's the most interesting, it's also the biggest stretch. But I'd be lying if I said that wouldn't be a cool thing for them to go for. Honestly, at this point, we don't know. Other than this part right here, new Megas. I feel like that would be a pretty obvious thing. It's more which Pokemon will get it, and we already know which ones will. The new ones, anyway. At bare minimum, we know it pretty much that the original Kalos starters are getting them. Because why wouldn't you do that? They're the only starters that haven't gotten their Regions gimmicks since the Regions gimmicks started. So you use this game to give them their Regions gimmick. as well as some of the other Pokemon that I think in X and Y needed it, like the Dene would probably help. Any Pikachu clone is good for getting anything. They miss the original appeal of Pikachu in basically every sense. Like, oh yeah, they're cute and they have the electric cheek pouches, but like they borderline are never as cute as Pikachu, damn near. If they are, that's just about all they have. Pikachu has actual versatility. And it took until Palmy in Scarlet and Violet for one of them to evolve, which is something that the original Pikachu could do. And the original Pikachu has a baby form, so it's a 3-stage line, and every one of them are single stage, but that's not the point of the video. We're just going to move on. Other than that, I can see some legendaries getting it, and potentially I could see Xerneas and Yveltal and maybe Zygarde getting them. It just depends on how they do it. Other than that, I have no clue at all. Maybe doing the Legends thing and having Pokemon like Diancie and Volcanion and Hoopa actually having a presence in the game somewhere would be pretty interesting. But, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. Now that the part that should have been in the first part is out of the way, the next part is going to be about other games that people are speculating will be there. Now, like I said earlier in the video, I buy exactly none of these. Not that they exist. I think some of these are pretty likely to. It's just that I don't think we're seeing them in next week. I don't, because it's next week when I'm recording it. I don't think we're seeing them next week, tomorrow, whenever this is. I don't think we're seeing it. Because Legends Z-A hasn't even come out yet. With Legends Arceus, yeah, it did have content in the 2022 Direct Presents. The difference being that one it came out almost a month before that did. Meanwhile, their promotional cycle for this game hasn't started yet, and likely won't start before this presents. So that's I don't see it happening again unless it comes out like within a month. No, I don't see it happening. But Pokemon Black and White remakes, and I think people have talked about like a Gen 2 type thing. Gen 2 is kind of actually, ironically, this stuff is actually what my Pokemon Day videos in 2024 were about. It was mainly talking about Johto and Unova. Now, again, I'd be interested in anything, so I'm interested in these. There is one thing that really got people upset, and that was it being a faithful Black and White remake. I'm down for anything. We got this. I'm excited for that, if that is a thing. And it's mainly just because I already liked, just like with Brilliant Diamond Shiny Pearl, I already liked the original game. So it really would just be me getting the original game and then having to have some of the quality of life features that the recent games had, and also actually being able to use the online functions that were in the original game that I never got to use. Because by the time, I think I was early enough to make the attempt to use the online services for Diamond and Pearl and Black and White, but I never really understood how they worked. And by the time I had gotten those games, again, they were still on, but everyone else had already moved on. I think by the time I had gotten and started playing Black and White, Pokemon X and Y was in its promotional stages. And it would continue to be like that until Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Well, not even that, actually, because I did get that one late, too. It would continue to be like that until Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon was the first game I got on launch, and after Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where I had to wait for a week or so to get that game, yeah, after that, um, I think I still have the box of. When I went to get Ultra Sun, I asked for one of the posters, and instead they just gave us the whole box of them, which I don't think they were supposed to do. But I still have a shit ton of those posters. I think I still do. I don't remember throwing that thing out, but yeah. So after that, and with Sword and Shield, well, actually, Let's Go Eevee, but with Sword and Shield, and then on, I was pre-ordering every game, pretty much. So it'd be really cool in that respect, like to get that game and have the quality of life changes, and for them to add little things like character customization and stuff, which is really cool for me. And then also be able to use things like the Sea Gear actually. But even if it wasn't all that for me, I don't think I would care, just knowing the type of person I am. I would probably have cared more about Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl being artistically being the way it did. Like the broken part, that needs to change. I don't understand why the suits are making decisions when they're not part of the process to make shit at all. But that's neither here nor there. But decision-wise, like the decisions that were made for the game, that had nothing to do with how it came out buggy and stuff. Like, you know, keeping all the designs the same. Like, I don't care. Or like trying to replicate the sprite style. I think it was a good attempt to replicate the sprite style. Some of that stuff just wasn't going to work. Because, like, it's chibi, but their bodies were also fat, and I don't think that would have made for any type of actually good animation ever. So, yeah. But, like, I don't really care about all that just because the Legends sub-series exists in the first place. Like, even if I don't get it now, I can get the big new game that has something to do with X region when that happens. It's not an if, it's a when. But you know, that's just my thing with it. But if they were going to do black and white remakes, my only real question about that, I don't care about the art style. I would prefer 3D, but even if they went live 2D, not live 2D, what? Where does the word live come from? What was it? HD 2D, was it? Even if it is HD 2D, I don't really care. My main thing is, how are you going to do black and white too? Because this isn't something like a platinum for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl where they could just ignore it. Because, like, there were changes, but none of them were really all that consequential in terms of how the region and the story were. There were a bunch of stuff that, whether or not they were there, you got the general story of the region fine. Like the biggest difference for things like Emerald and Platinum is post-game stuff. But with games like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and especially Black and White, one is okay. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was the middle of the game away from being a total rewrite, and Black and White 2 aren't third versions; they're sequels. So, bringing it back to the Black and White remake discussion, how are you going to do Black and White 2? Because looking at the story of the region and how the region ends up by the end of the story, it's completely, like, you have to, if you want to act like, can completely tell the story of Unova, Black and White 2 is objectively an important part of that story. You know, that type of stuff is part of the reason why they release these games still. Is for newer players to experience the older games, or the old stories of the older games, the regions of the older games, as well as to connect dots to other stuff. But you can't do that in Unova without Black and White 2, as opposed to Johto, like as opposed to Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and Sinnoh, where you could ignore Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Crystal, Pokemon Emerald, and Pokemon Platinum, and still have a pretty good understanding of the region and its history and everything. Like all of that, like you're missing full chunks of Unova and everything that happens in it if you skip Black and White 2. So I have to wonder if they would add Black and White 2 as DLC. Have that be its own separate remakes eventually. Just have it be in the base adventure where, like, and how would you have that work? Would it be time travel? Would you switching between Black and White 1's region and Black and White 2's region be time travel? Would it be something else? Would it be traveling through rifts in space-time? We don't know. And likely we won't know for a while, because again, I do not see anything like that being brought up when we don't have an actual gameplay trailer nor release date for Pokemon Legends Z-A. That's not here, meaning that this game is nowhere near close to coming out, meaning that if there are Black and White remakes, which there could be, they are nowhere near close to coming out. So we're not seeing that really at all. There are a lot of cool things you could do with Black and White, whether it be something faithful or not. But if we're talking about how much I believe this, it'd definitely be a plausible, but not now. Same thing with a Johto game. I've heard significantly less about that. If likely because if they do exist, they likely just got greenlit, or were only greenlit like a year ago and are actively in development right now, as opposed to Legends Z-A, where they're most likely in the finishing parts of development, like bug fixing and stuff. That type of stuff is at the end usually. So yeah, that's about it for this part. Significantly shorter than the last one, about halfway through. So this is most likely coming out the Wednesday of next week, so exactly 7 days from now. So, hopefully, if you are looking at this, I will see you tomorrow on Thursday, the 27th, for when they hopefully do a Pokemon Presents. It's pretty safe to say they will, but we are still a week out when I'm recording this, and when they do presents, they don't really announce, like they used to, but they don't announce it that long in advance anymore. We're likely not going to know about this again at the time of recording this. We're likely not going to know about this until 1 or 2 days before. So around when these videos are coming out, we'll know. But I will stream that. I will stream that, and then I will stream Pokemon Y immediately afterwards, breaking my usual Wednesday Pokemon Y stream stuff. But I also haven't streamed that game in like 2 to 3 months, so it's whatever. So yeah, that's it. That's what's happening at the end of this month. Hope you enjoyed the ramblings of a Pokemon / Sonic fan. I know I'm insane. And like I said, hopefully I'll see you when this comes out tomorrow for a Pokemon Presents. See ya.